right, so now that we are back, it is now time to look into our next trailer. And I like to ask, Antic, you're familiar with the Smurfs, right?
Yes, I am familiar with them. I have seen the 80s Hanna-Barbera show. I've seen 3 of the 4 movies. I have not seen Smurfs and the Magic Flute. I'm probably going to see it in lead up to this new movie. I have seen the other 3 movies, though. Yeah, they're not great. The 2 Raja Gosnell movies are terrible. And then Smurfs Lost Village was just I thought it was mediocre. I gave it a 5. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I certainly didn't hate it. But it wasn't great.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'll just say right now, not many people know this, but I kind of grew up with the Smurfs. Keep in mind that I am from a French speaking region. So I did grew up watching the Hanna-Barbera Smurf cartoons. And also I did read some of the original Belgian comics as well. So yeah, like I have been familiar with the Smurfs for a very long time. In fact, like I knew about the Smurfs before I knew they were even called the Smurfs. So like, and considering I was raised French, like I knew them as les Schtroumpfs. So yeah, like I am definitely familiar with all the Smurfs, and I have seen like the movies as well. Like yeah, the Raj Gosnell movies, I hate them so much. And Smurfs: The Lost Village, I'll probably need to rewatch that again. Honestly, like I didn't care for it much when it was released, but I feel like maybe I should give it a second chance. But then we got this. We have an all new attempt of the Smurfs, this time around, now from Paramount. Yes, considering that a while back, the Smurfs did move out of their home at Sony, and now they're going to be moving in with Paramount. They made themselves comfortable at Nickelodeon, but now this time, they're going to come in with an all-new movie. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming animated feature that is just simply called Smurfs.
Hey everyone, I'm Rihanna, and I play Smurfette in the new Smurfs movie. And I
Are the lick everything.
Kiss, mwah, Cardi, Habibi.
So that was Smurfs, to which the movie shall be coming out on July 18th, and yes, in theaters. So Antic, I would like to ask you, what the fridge did we just watch?
A trailer straight out of 2007, I guess. I do not know. Wow. I just want to say this. When this movie was announced, I was a little curious. I mean, this movie's being directed by Chris Miller. He did the first Puss in Boots, which I liked. It's not as good as Last Wish, but it's still pretty good. So I was a little curious. And then they announced Rihanna was a part of this, and I instantly tuned out. Like, all expectations just gone. Just gone. And there's a reason why. I think people who watch me know this, but I hate it. And I mean it. I hate it whenever a big animated movie casts a pop star to voice a character, and usually in a major role, because whenever I see, I know there's a lot of debate over whether or not we should have celebrities voicing characters in animated movies. My take is this: as long as they're good and they fit the role, I'm not going to complain. And usually with pop stars, it's always they are miscast, and they always are terrible in it. And my go-to example for whenever an animated film casts a pop star in a movie is Rihanna's performance in Home, because she is horrendous in that movie. Like, she is so emotionless. She has no passion. She is underacting because she's like, it's all your fault. You stole my mom. It's like, the emotion is there. Like, can't you tell I have an emotional problem and I'm angry that my mother has been kidnapped by you, Boov? It's like, ugh, it's so bad. And then, like, keep that in mind. My expectations for this trailer were low, knowing that. And then I see this, and I was like, I have a confession. I actually did not see this thing intact in whole the first time. I actually had to pause it and take several breaks because this trailer is horrendous. It is horrendously bad, even by Paramount animation standards. This is appalling. This is appallingly bad. What the heck is this trailer? Like, what in the world is this trailer?
I understand, man. Like, you know, the funny thing is that I've heard when it came out, I've heard some people like they were bashing it, and one of the first things they said was that it was a complete Trolls ripoff. And yeah, there are a lot of signs that they really showed it, especially that opening. Like, it almost felt like it was a shot-for-shot remake, especially with all the dance numbers, with all the Smurfs and Smurfette and stuff like that. They feel like they ripped it off entirely from the original Trolls film. And I knew that with Rihanna, that she would be like this movie's Justin Timberlake, because they announced that not only was she the star of this movie as Smurfette, but she was also the music executive, that she is the one in charge of placing what songs are going to be featured throughout this movie, similar to Justin Timberlake's job with the Trolls movies. So from there, like, yeah, I expected that. And my God, like, not only was it a shot-for-shot remake, also, I just want to go and comment immediately that there's one thing that I absolutely despise. Where is it? Hold on a sec. Yeah, this freaking douche dick right over here, the influencer Smurf. Yeah, I'm as an influencer myself. God. I hate this. I hate this with every fiber of my being. Why are we still doing this in our
year of our Lord 2025?
In the year of the Lord 2025. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Why are we doing this? What the heck? I mean,
no, why do we need an influencer Smurf? Now I am scared for my life. If this is going to be the attitude, if we're going to keep hearing jokes like
smash that subscribe button.
Like, if he's going to be doing that, like talking about likes and subscribe and like vlogging all the time about his stuff, like, honestly, no. Like, I am not going to stand for it. And
this is just so, how do you do, fellow kids, energy to me.
Oh,
just first time I see this, I was like, good God, are you guys this desperate? I mean, literally the funniest thing that has come out of this character is I have seen this character getting roasted online and getting canceled. It is so funny. Like, I saw someone, I'm like, this was so funny. I was chatting with two of my friends before the Annies, and I was just scrolling through the quote tweets that people were putting on Blue Sky and social media and whatnot, and I see someone took the like a photo of an overhead shot of Smurf Village and basically made it look like the Not Like Us cover, saying that Kendrick Lamar is gonna completely roast influencer Smurf. It was the funniest thing I had ever seen.
No, you know what I want to see? I want to see people talk about how influencer Smurf is going to start off with, like, he's going to like launch his meme coins, and then suddenly he's gonna fall into the same kind of controversy as like Hawk Tour Girl. Like, I want to see that plot with influencer Smurf right there. Oh my God! Hey, at least if we could,
Stupid idea.
Yeah, if we could get those kinds of materials, okay, I can see the point of it. But you know, the worst thing about it though is that this is how it started. What I did not expect is that somehow they decided, hey, you know what would be a great idea? Let's bring the Smurfs back into the live action world. This right here, I honestly feel like, okay, somewhere there is a massive loss in translation where they got the memo of, okay, our job is to remake the Smurfs. There must be someone who misinterpreted that and thought, okay, let's make a remake of the 2011 Smurf or the freaking 2013 Smurf, in which now they're in Paris again. But did we already go through that with the second Smurfs movie? Like, why do we have to go through this again?
Like, why are we doing it again? Yeah, I just like I don't understand. It's like, you know, there's the famous saying, those that don't learn from their mistakes are doomed to repeat them. And I was just sitting here watching this trailer, and I'm like, they're trying this again, and then you just like I mean, again, I am just baffled by this trailer. And again, this is coming from how I feel about Paramount Animation as a whole, because when it comes to like the animation studios right now, Paramount Animation has been really, really struggling lately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've had hits. I love Mutant Mayhem, and I really liked Transformers 1, but even if Mutant Mayhem was technically not released under the Paramount Animation banner, but the other movies that came out from them, I was just not impressed by. I mean, you had Sherlock Gnomes, Wonder Park, Paws of Fury, and last year there was The Tiger's Apprentice. I mean, like, and those have a lot of executive meddling on it. I mean, I had heard a lot of meddling that went on behind the scenes with Tiger's Apprentice. I actually saw early animatics of it, and like the whole Flow Rida song that was in the opening, that was not in the original pitch, which did not surprise me. That was obviously an executive decision. And yeah, I'm watching this and I'm like, this is the most executive driven madness I have seen in a long time. I mean, this thing has executive fingerprints all over it. And if anything, the thing that also baffles me about this movie is that, like, the idea of bringing back the Smurfs after Lost Village was not that big a hit just seems ridiculous. And also, it's following up on another movie franchise where audiences got tired of the IP, and that was Transformers 1. And again, I like that movie. That was a really good movie, but there were so many factors that played into it not being a hit, from the terrible trailers, the fact that it was coming out a week before Wild Robot, which that honestly baffles me. Paramount should have panicked when the Wild Robot teaser went up. And also just the fact that people were burnt out by the Transformers after the Michael Bay movies. And now you got this following up on Transformers 1, and it's continuing to show that whatever Brian Robbins was stating about IPs leading Paramount Animation, like, the plan is already backfiring. It's not working. And like, you're making this, like, and you're putting it, like, the other thing is that this is coming out in July. It's coming out a month after Elio. It's coming out a month before Bad Guys 2. It's coming out the same month as superhero movies like Fantastic Four and Superman. I can't imagine this being a hit. This was supposed to come out this month, for the record. People forget that. This was supposed to be released in February, and they delayed it to July. And I'm just genuinely baffled how Paramount thought that this was an approvable trailer, because it's genuinely a disaster. I mean, it's like everything about it does not work. It's not funny. They're repeating things about it that doesn't work. The animation looks really off. I mean, I like the designs of the Smurfs. They look exactly like the Peyo cartoons, but the rendering looks really weird. And just the comedy is also really unfunny. Like, there's that one joke before the logo where Rihanna goes, "I think I just swallowed my gum." And I was like, what? What's the joke? Was she chewing gum before that? Like, what's so funny about that? And then there's Rihanna herself, which, again, why is she Smurfette? Like, again, she's not an actress, and it's not just Home. She was in Battleship. That was terrible. One of my friends saw a movie where she was in that was really good with Donald Glover, and he said she was terrible in that movie. Like, I do not understand why studios keep casting pop stars to play animated characters when they obviously can't act. Like, I just do not get this trailer. I don't get this. Like, again, my expectations were low, but oh, wow. I was not expecting this.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And honestly, it might sound like a massive exaggeration, but I'm going to be very honest. I feel like I'm getting Emoji Movie vibes from this Smurfs trailer. Like, I am getting that sense in which it is so executive, like it was so meddled by executives that a lot of these decisions are made just to desperately try to make itself look cool and hip to the younger audiences. But it's just, everything just feels like it really falls apart. And not to mention how it's kind of baffling how it refuses to learn from the mistakes that Sony has made with those Smurfs movies, and yet they're going to try it again with them. And I feel like with a lot of these decisions, like bringing the Smurfs into the real world again, I feel like it really screws up with the animation, because so far, I will say, like, some of the animation, I get where they're going with it. Like, trying to make something that's a little bit more stylistic, especially to have it look more like how the Smurfs were in the original Peyo comics. That I do get it. And that I feel like there could be some great potential on how you can make a nice looking Smurfs movie that way. But then suddenly you bring them into the real world, and suddenly that style doesn't mesh well. There's something that feels very off about it, where it doesn't blend well with its environment. And even the style that they're trying to go for, it suddenly kind of like removes itself. It's like the style suddenly becomes gone, and now they look like just regular CG characters that feel like their rendering did not work as well as intended. There's just something that really looks like it's just broken. It just feels like it doesn't work as well as they intend to. And there's just so much of it that's just going on that it really doesn't work. And it just leaves me with more questions than answers. And I feel frustrated about everything. Like, I'm even pissed off about, why do we now have this random turtle that's joining everybody? Why do we need a turtle that's joining the Smurfs adventures? Like, I don't know if you've seen it. Like, throughout the whole time, we've seen like this turtle that's...
Yeah, we see this like random turtle, and I do have a fair amount of Smurfs knowledge, because again, I saw the original Hanna-Barbera show growing up, so I know a fair bit about this franchise. And just seeing this random turtle, like, what are you doing here, Vern? Why are you in this and not over the hedge? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Archie, it's like, yeah, isn't that the turtle from like Over the Hedge or something? But no, it's like, now we suddenly get this unexpected turtle. Maybe there might be something that is related to the comics that the turtle plays a bigger role, but so far it's just, with everything that we have seen from this trailer, it's just, it makes me pissed off about everything, and honestly gives me no hope for what this movie will have in store. Now, granted, there is that slight possibility that maybe it's just a really terribly made trailer, and there could be parts of it that will turn out better than expected. Maybe it's just the trailer itself gave a bad representation of what the movie will actually be, and it could turn out to be good. But from what we have seen so far, absolutely not. It looks like it is a disaster. And I think even the fact that it is coming out in mid-July, amongst all the other major blockbuster movies that are going to be coming out, I feel like it could be a bit of an intentional decision, because like probably even the people at Paramount knew very well that this is just going to be a disaster. So maybe that release date is just to go and bury it instead of having people to actually go and see it. Like, okay, let's put it over here because people will probably be more preoccupied to talk about Superman and Fantastic Four instead of giving attention to Smurfs. Because if they do, they would know very well that a lot of it is going to be negative.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, even if Paramount did want nothing to do with this, like, I'm surprised they didn't just dump this on Paramount Plus, like what they did with Under the Boardwalk and Rumble and Tiger's Apprentice, because they had no faith in those movies. Those were just shoved off onto them. Under the Boardwalk, quite unfairly, in my opinion. I didn't love that movie, but it wasn't bad by any means. Rumble and Tiger's Apprentice, I got though. Those were not good movies, but but yeah, this just baffles me. Like, I can't figure out who this is for, because is this for Smurfs fans? Because I'm talking to you and you're a massive Smurf fan. You're not on board with this. I'm not into this at all. And like, it's clearly trying to be trolls. Like, I feel like, is this Paramount just really frustrated that they dumped their deal with DreamWorks and DreamWorks just went out on their own and made the Trolls franchise? I don't know. And again, I don't love Trolls. I made my peace with it at least, because the only one I don't really like is that first movie. I don't mind World Tour or Band Together. I actually kind of dug World Tour, but this though, this is really just a poor man's Trolls, and I just do not understand why they're doing this. And I remember you said that Rihanna's trying to be like what Rihanna for Smurf is like what Justin Timberlake was with Branch and the Trolls franchise, and I think that's a good point. But I think the counter argument I can make to that is that at least Justin Timberlake can. I mean, I've seen him in The Social Network. He's fantastic. When you put him in the right role, he's really good. But then you have like but then you have him like in but then you have Rihanna, and Rihanna is not an actress. She cannot act to save her life. Like, a lot of these pop stars are great on stage. I really like Rihanna as a singer. She's made a lot of great pop songs that I love and I will listen to, but actress, no. She's not an actress. And the idea of just, you know, casting her as Smurfette, like, that's even more baffling. Like, casting her as Smurfette nowadays doesn't make any sense. Like, I get Katy Perry in the Gosnell movies, because Katy Perry was probably the biggest pop star alive at that moment. Teenage Dream was huge. And then Demi Lovato I also get. In the very least, Lovato has a little bit of acting experience behind her. But Rihanna, I mean, she's a legend. She's a huge pop star, but I don't understand this casting choice. I really, really don't. And I just do not get this trailer. Also, just the pop song, like that slowed down version of Rihanna singing Brenda Carlisle's "Heaven Is a Place on Earth." I literally just caught that rewatching this trailer with you. Oh my god! But why? Just the DJ Khaled just. God, I hate this trailer. I hate it. I hate it.
Hey, I don't blame you, dude. But I think, honestly, if I could try to answer your question, if there is an audience that it wants to go for, it's most likely Rihanna fans. I think it's trying to be a movie that would appeal to them and try to make like a Rihanna version of Trolls. But now you put in the Smurfs filter, and hey, considering that the Smurfs is a popular IP, that gives them an excuse to go and put it out on the big screen instead of just throwing it onto Paramount Plus, where they would officially cave and just be like, oh, okay, well, we have no hope, so we'll just put it over here. So that is honestly my guess as to like what they're trying to do, who, and especially who they're doing this for, because yeah, like, it's baffling to watch this trailer and to think like who would go and like think that this is a good idea? Who would want to actually go and watch this movie, like seeing this whole trailer and be like, oh yeah, this checks. Yeah, this definitely works. Because no, this is already heading towards like, this is already becoming like one of the worst animated features of the year. And honestly, maybe like I'll try to maintain like a little sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, it's just this trailer. Maybe it's just because this trailer is absolutely horrible, and that maybe the movie will give out a better impression of what it could be, and maybe it'll deliver some better jokes. But honestly, I highly doubt it, especially from what we have seen from the animation not really working great, from that desperate attempt of trying to look hip and cool, to the godforsaken influencer Smurf. Honestly, honestly, it's hard to find any hope that this could actually turn out to be good, or if it could turn out to be enjoyable.
My expectations for this thing are low. Maybe the trailer will be better. Maybe the movie will be better than what the trailer promised. I don't have high hopes. Like, I don't think this is gonna pull a Transformers 1, because I was not impressed by the trailer of Transformers 1, and that movie ended up being really good. The trailers did that movie so dirty. This just looks exactly like the movie I think we're getting. And I don't know if there's if there's like a little bit of like self-deprecation to it, maybe but I doubt it. I feel like it's playing this all straight and serious, and it looks so desperate. It looks so desperate. And again, I just cannot see this sticking out in a vast competition of other animated fields coming out this summer. Because you got Elio, which is the next Pixar movie, which is coming out a month before. A boy getting abducted by aliens who's excited to get abducted. And everyone there thinks he's like the supreme leader of Earth. Or you also have Bad Guys 2, which is following up on one of DreamWorks' best recent movies in history. You got the bad guys after they've gone good, and then a ruthless new criminal team blackmails them into pulling off one last heist. Like, it sounds much better than, oh, let's just put the Smurfs back in the real world again, because, you know, it worked so well the first time, didn't it? With Neil Patrick Harris. And Sony product placement, and the second movie, which nearly ruined Jacob Tremblay's career before it got started. Did you know that was his debut before Room? And
oh,
geez,
James,
like,
seriously?
Yeah, he was the son of Neil Patrick Harris. He is really not good in that movie. And again, I blame that on Gosnell because he's a great actor. I mean, I love Jacob Tremblay. He's one of our best child actors, and yeah, thank God Lenny Abramson saw him and put him in Room, because we probably wouldn't have got him in movies like Luca or My Father's Dragon or Ryan in the Dark because of Smurfs 2. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. But I just want to give you a heads up. So we don't have a lot of time right now, but don't worry. You people in the chat wall, you'll have a chance to go and talk. So we're just going to take a break so that we could have a bit of a reset onto the ad timer. And when we do come back, I will ask you all, what do you think of the Smurfs trailer?
Joke.
All right, so let's see here. I already had low expectations for the Smurfs movie going in, but I was not prepared for it to look this terrible. I'm not exaggerating when I saw it, when I say that it legitimately looks worse than the live action films. The trailer was so terrible that I couldn't get through it in one sitting. Yeah, much like with Antic, actually. All right, let's see. What the Smurf was that? This looks really awful. The animation looks cheap. The voice acting is terrible. The jokes are totally booty juice. And it wastes its really cool what is a Smurf concept. And yet, with how bad it is, it's kind of a must watch. I legitimately want to see how bad it'll go. But I gotta ask, why influencer Smurf? I mean, this dude just exposed. This dude was just exposed by Kendrick LaSmurf for smurfing minors. Like, try to smurf a corn and it's probably a minor. Oh boy.
My God.
Let's see here. Smurfs, we meet again. What's the damage this time? Oh God, what the hell is this? Influencer Smurf? Let's see, what else? I lost my place here. Live action world? Not this crap again. Also, the animation style is completely ripping off the Spider-Verse style, which is far looking far better than this. Yeah, Smurfs, go home. You're drunk. No, don't worry. They're not drunk. They just swallowed their gum. That seems to be all that it is.
They swallowed their gum and they signed a bad contract with the studio that probably shouldn't be working with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially Paramount in this stage. I can see things falling apart.
Yeah.
Anyways, I can't believe it. This looks worse than the Sony movies. At least those had Neil Patrick Harris taking the piss out of the Smurfs to dull the pain. This feels like a Spider-Verse movie made by people who hate Spider-Verse. I never thought we'd see a poor man's DreamWorks Trolls, but apparently this is what cinema calls for now. Also, why the Smurf is influencer Smurf here? I thought we all canceled him because of what he said about Black Smurfs Matter. Oh my God. No, we're going to see more of those memes coming in about influencer Smurf. Oh boy.
Oh my God, that's brutal.
Okay, another Smurf. Here we go again. I was not into the franchise since childhood, but watching this trailer, I can see why Robot Chicken made fun of the Smurfs. I feel sorry and give respect to the artists and animators who worked on the movie, now getting dislikes from the teaser trailer. But at least the female Smurf is better than the blue female attractive one from Avatar: The Way of Water. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess the design of Smurfette is not too bad. I mean, like we said, like the designs, they have great potential. That's probably the best thing that we have seen from the trailer. Everything else, however, no. Like, honestly, it would make me rather want to watch The Way of Water than that. Let's see. You want to know why the Smurfs are going back to the live action world? Because the live-action Smurfs movies are now old enough to be considered nostalgia. The kids from the early 2010s were so suckered in by those movies, would be teenagers or in their early 20s by now. Maybe it's a stretch, but I feel like that's what Paramount is trying to do. Paramount, please, just calm down. Everything the kids who grew up with the 2011 Smurfs movie and liked it, no, they know that it's not good. Yeah, I don't. That is an interesting theory, but I think honestly there could be. I think there might be just again a loss in translation where the people who worked on it, they're not as familiar with the actual Smurfs, like the Belgian comics by Peyo. Like they really do think like the original Smurfs that started it all was actually the Sony Pictures movie. Like that could be the case. At least that's the impression I'm getting from this.
Yeah, and in this day and age, like in a post-Paddington age, you really have to do more with your IPs, Just like and again, you look at what Paramount did with the Ninja Turtles and the Transformers, like they really did a great job like reinvigorating them and doing something interesting with it. But with this, it's like, oh, we're going back to 2011 and putting it in the real world.
Yes, because we so enjoy like characters that suddenly come to the real world and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe Paramount is still on their massive high on like the wins that they have been getting with the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. Though, like they check on those they check those movies. They see how the formula is going with them, and they're like, "Hey, it still works. Let's try that with the Smurfs right now and see what happens."
Yeah, but at least with Sonic, you had Jeff Fowler behind it, and at least he's a fan of Sonic. Like he understands it. He works at Blur Studios, and Blur did a lot of stuff for the Sonic games. Like Chris Miller, though, I don't know how much knowledge Miller has on the Smurfs, because I don't really have a read on him as a filmmaker, because, again, he's only directed 2 movies. One was Shrek the Third, which is not good, and the other was Puss in Boots, which is good. Not great, but good. So it's really hard for me to judge what his skills and assets are as a director, or what, why he was chosen to do this Smurfs movie. I did hear he was initially going to try to do Larkins at DreamWorks before that was scrapped, and then he moved on to do this. So, yeah, it's going to be really weird to see what he's going to bring to this franchise. Like, at least Kelly Asbury, I could tell with Lost Village, he understood Peyo's comics and was trying to do something with it and trying to be respectful. It might not have fully worked in the end, but I do respect that movie more in hindsight after seeing this trailer, because I could tell that Sony and Asbury were trying with that movie, whereas this, it's like, let's just make another Trolls movie because the Trolls movies are so successful, we can copy that, because yeah, you don't, and as it's been proven before, you do not learn anything by cheating off of others. I'm just saying, you can take influence, but you can't copy.
That's not a way to get that Trolls money. I'm just saying, or even that Rihanna money.
No, I can't even imagine the Navy will be interested in this. Rihanna Navy.
Oh, yes. Anyways, this trailer was nothing but pure cringe. And this honestly looked like it could be just as bad as the live action movies. The pop culture references are awful. And the moment they entered the real world, I was done. Especially with it looking like a Trolls ripoff. Not to mention the release date in July, it's screwed. Seriously, say what you will about the Lost Village, at least they tried to stay true to the source material. Also, and this is something we haven't brought up, James Corden is in this too, which adds extra reason to hate. Why are we bringing back James Corden? I thought we all agreed as a society to not make James Corden a thing. You know, I thought like we all agreed to leave him like back in London, to have him locked up in there. We didn't ask for him to come back into the pop culture zeitgeist and suddenly coming in with frickin' Smurfs. Maybe that could be another reason why I was getting Emoji Movie vibes, because suddenly we got the stench of James Corden in this.
Yeah, Corden is back. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Trolls band together, but at least they have the common sense of not bringing back James Corden. Why are the Smurfs doing this?
Why are the Smurfs doing it? I do not know. I do not know.
Oh boy, I think I'm going to read one more comment before we go on to our next break. Let's see. Our expectations for you were low, but holy fridge. I honestly have no words just by how bad this movie is. Even the animation looks poorly done. The humor is also just utter garbage, and the voice acting... Oh, Rihanna, honey, please stick to singing. Also, influencer Smurf? What the fridge? Of course, yes, I'm still gonna watch it, but this is not a main priority for July, by the way. This is going to be releasing between Superman and Fantastic Four, so this movie is screwed big time. So yes, all this to say, I think we can all agree that we are not excited for this whatsoever. But for those of you who are morbidly curious, keep in mind that it will be coming out on July 18th.